Hey guys, this is Casual with a hobby update. Forgive my crude PowerPoint abilities, but it's not really my forte. I'm just gonna talk about a couple things that's going on with me, going on with my crew, going on with Warhammer. Just gonna run through a couple things and see what you guys think. First thing I want to start off with is the status of my armies. First one, as most of you follow me, are probably here to watch demons. I've been playing them for a while. I've been playing them since the book came out. I've been playing them competitively and taking them to tournaments pretty much exclusively with the odd Bretonian group here and there. I feel like I have a great grasp of the army. Only one event on it. Got a couple best painted, so felt pretty good with the army. I have so much painted at this point. I kind of consider my demons done for now. Maybe moving forward I'll look into some of the other alternatives. I'm pretty sure that moving forward Blight Kings are going to make it into the Demons book, but that's going to be kind of the end times and ninth discussion, which is going to be a part of this presentation moving down the line. So right now I have every single demon god that you can do, and it's all pretty much all painted, so I can make a lot of funky lists and try a lot of things out. But at this point I'm really just kind of want to put them on the back burner in a competitive sense and move on to playing some of my other armies, and I hope that you can go on this journey with me as I explore other armies and learn how to play them. So that leads me into my next army, which is going to be the Empire. I have been playing UB games. I haven't really been I don't battle report UB, but I might start just because it helps me add content to the channel. And even though they're not the most exciting or visually pleasing games, I think there's some value in those battle reports. And if they're explained well, you can actually see the strategy kind of play out in a very specific way. And I think it's a pretty neat way to at least get games in, especially if you don't know, like my area, there's not much Warhammer going on. I mean, if it is, it's just the buddies getting together in the basement. There's no game stores that are really close, and all of us pretty much have full-time jobs and families and stuff like that to deal with. So getting the convenient, you come over, let's smash some models together, isn't always available. But sometimes there's, hey, I have 2 hours at the end of the night here, let's get a game in. So I'm thinking I'm going to start just battle reporting some of those and just kind of getting a feel of how you guys feel about it. But anyway, speaking of the next army, it's definitely going to be the Empire. If you're on the YouTubers group, I've posted a few pictures here and there of my journey down this army. The idea behind it is in the Empire Heraldry book, there's a brief insert about the halberdiers that were called the Death's Heads, and what they were was a unit that, when Slovenia was invaded by the first vampire, one of the von Karsteins, these guys were the guys that were fighting to preserve the Slovenian way, but the vampire had so many spies that were reporting back to them that they concealed their identities with skull masks. So I thought, let's take this one step further and make it beyond a unit and make this a whole army that's dedicated to liberating Slovenia. And in a sense, it's dreary. It's going to be a very dreary army, because as they are confronted with the undead so much, they're starting to take trinkets and skulls, and they're witnessing so much of the macabre that they're starting to transform in a sense. And if you know the lore, like the Death's Heads, they didn't succeed in liberating Slovenia, so it's kind of like a lost army that is never going to succeed their goal, and you can see it. And my display board and everything is going to be kind of built around a theme like that. It's been a slow process because I've been doing a lot of converting. I just about ready to finish up. I did 20 knights in a block, and they're all heavily converted through using Chaos Warrior horses that have these special shields on them. All the Chaos stuff's off. The knights themselves have demigryph heads and different icons. There's a lot of skulls, and all their faces are covered. The knights don't have the skull mask. That's going to be solely reserved for infantry type troops, men-at-arms type troops, which will be the halberdiers. And the demigryphs are done, and the next the next item up on the list for the Empire, I'm going to be doing a steam tank. I have a really cool idea for a conversion for their steam tank, and I'm excited to get started on it and get rolling. So I'm just waiting for some shields to come in. I'm actually using the Dark Shard Spear shields from the Dark Elves. They have a really cool skull on them, so it just kind of fits through the whole theme. And if there's one thing that GW doesn't lack is the amount of skulls that they put on stuff. So just trying to take that theme and keep going. Britonia, I love Britonia. They are on the back burner. I mean, I have 4,000 points probably painted up, and I just haven't been playing them much. They're kind of sitting collecting dust. They need a new book, and if you watch Anthony from Sustainable Center, you know that it's really tough right now to be a Britonia in general. They're always in your heart, but sometimes you really just want to be competitive in some senses. I do bust them out occasionally, and get some games with them. And the other thing that's going on right now, I'm taking on some commission work. I've done this in the past with some close friends, and I've sold stuff, eBay and whatnot. I decided to just open it up since I'm kind of... the Empire is going to be a slow grow type thing, and although I want it done by spring next year, I just wanted to pick up a little bit of work and make some extra bucks on the side. So I'm doing some commission painting. I have a project with Anthony in the works right now. We're working on some Carnival Chaos guys, and we're moving forward with that. I don't know at what capacity I'm going to be taking commission paintings. I may go full-fledged and put a site up and get things off on the correct manner. I even made a logo, Project Casual commission painting, very very Russian looking, but I just kind of wanted to mess around with something. So I might not be taking huge lots or huge armies, but select pieces I may pick up, and I will let you guys know when I'm about to move forward. I want to get through Anthony's stuff first before I take any more work. If you are interested, you can send me an email at projectcasual@gmail.com with a project that you have in mind, or a specific unit, or maybe it's just a one-off piece, and maybe we can fit you into some time slot and get some stuff going. Right now I'm not officially starting, but it's always interesting to see what people come up with, so maybe drop me an email if you think there's something you want me to do. And because of this, I know you haven't seen much of my work. You can see stuff in battle reports, but it's not as good as the up-close pictures. I do post a lot on nerdhammer.net. When I'm going through projects, I'm taking pictures here and there, so you can see some of my work. There is some stuff up there of the demons, so you can check out the website, which leads me perfectly into what's going on with nerdhammer.net. Well, there's a lot, actually. Like I said, the website, I'm trying to get the guys to post a little bit more stuff, because they're really... I have some good painters in my crew, and I get text messages every day of stuff that they're doing, and I'm just like, please put it on the website. So I'm trying to reinvigorate some push to the site. I have a small little series I'm doing called Tactics You Should Be Using, and it ranges from extremely beginner level stuff to advanced to master's level stuff, if I ever figure out how to play at a master's level. But it's just a lot of little things that you might not be using, or you might not use them in a certain way. I think I'm just going on to 3 right now, so there's not a whole lot up there. I think they're pretty simple, like using a double flee, or what's another one? I forget what the other one is at the moment. But we're trying to do a lot of stuff with our website, and as I go through this list here, we are doing a lot of things in the hobby, including some events, some tournaments in our local area, and the main thing that we're doing right now is a podcast. Now we just recorded the 2nd episode. The first episode was kind of like a quick demo to see how we can do it if we can do it remotely, and we used TeamSpeak, and we recorded through there, and it came out pretty good. We just kind of did our rundown of Slovenia GT, of our list going in and prep going into that. And I thought it came out pretty good, and the quality's lacking a little bit. I think that's just because of recording equipment. We're going through the internet. But episode 2, the guys just recorded this past weekend. I wasn't involved with it just because I couldn't make it that day, but I heard the first cut of it, and it is awesome. I mean, it is pure gamer fun, nerd hammer type style. Like, just it really shows our personalities, and we're all in the same room. You really get to play off of each other, and the first run through that I've heard so far, it's a really good episode. It had me laughing pretty hard in some parts, and I mentioned that I wasn't in this episode, and that kind of plays into the format that we're using. Like, we're a crew of gamers, and we all have our opinions on the game, and we all play different armies, so we can bring a lot of perspective in from a couple different angles. I mean, some of us are good painters, some of us are great tacticianists, and we didn't want to have a podcast that was like, okay, it's this guy, and this guy are the main hosts, and these guys come in once in a while. The format is going to be ever changing, and you're going to get to see the dynamics between each individual that comes on to the podcast. So I don't need to be on every episode. Rob doesn't need to be on every episode. It's just going to be this evolving format wherever, when we all can get together and we have the recording equipment and we can record, we're going to do it. And I think it's going to make for some really interesting dynamics and conversations about the game and the hobby. So keep looking for that. It is on iTunes. I think it's under House Nerdhammer, but I think you can search nerdhammer.net also. You can always pull it from our site. So yeah, definitely check out our podcast. It's some good stuff. And for nerdhammer.net, we're actually running some tournaments coming up in 2015. The first one's going to be Winter Wars. It's at Adventures Guild in Harrisburg on the 10th of January. You can find it on Facebook. Search nerdhammer.net on Facebook, and there's a sign up there. We're accepting as many signups as we can on Facebook, because you never know how many people we're actually going to get to show up. But we're going to get a rough estimate really close to the day, and then we'll let people know how many definites we have, and send out invitations to anyone who else would like to come. It's a one-day event. On Facebook, you can find the comp that we're using, Rob Comp, something that he made up. He will tell you otherwise in the podcast, but that's not true. Don't listen to him. So yeah, it's going to be a fun little gig, and Adventures Guild is a really nice place. So we're going to have some fun with it, and have a great tournament of Warhammer. The other thing we're doing is nerdhammer.net is presenting the Colonial GT this year in August. It's going to be the 8th and the 9th, and we talked to the organizers of Colonial GT this past year, and past years. Hi, Duncan, right on time. And he was looking he wasn't going to be able to run it again in 2015, so we wanted to see. There was talk on War Gamers USA about moving it to New York or New Jersey and in Maryland, Delaware, and we just kind of felt like this was Pennsylvania's GT, and we kind of want to keep it in Pennsylvania. So, we were talking about doing an event anyway, and so we thought it was just a great opportunity. We're spreading the word. We're finalizing the location and everything. We think it's going to be somewhere near Hershey, Pennsylvania, or Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So look out for that. I'm going to definitely be promoting once everything's nailed down on the site here, and also check nerdhammer.net for sign-ups and whatnot. There was a thread about it on Wargamers USA you could also check out, and this leads me into my tournament predictions for 2015. I'm going to predict that one Nerdhammer member is going to make Masters for 2016. You heard it here first. One of us is going to make it. I would love to see more than one, but I'm going to predict that it's going to be close. There's going to be a couple that are definitely on the list, but there's going to be at least one that makes it. That's just my prediction. I'm not saying who, but I think it's going to happen. We're hitting enough tournaments this upcoming year that point-wise, I mean, I feel like it's going to happen for one of us. So that's my predictions. This moves me on to thoughts on the end times. I'm sure you've seen everything everywhere. Everyone has an opinion on the end times, and I guess I'll just give you mine, kind of from a different perspective, I guess. Let's see what I got here. So, one thing that's absolutely true about the end times, it's like nothing we've ever seen GW do before in the past. I think it's a very ambitious campaign, and the books are absolutely phenomenal. The writing behind it is great. I personally think it lacks on the rule side. It's just so wild, but that's the perfect thing for this book to be. It needs to be an alternative to your regular Warhammer, something that gets you thinking about armies in a different way and lists in a different way and scenarios, and the scenarios seem so awesome to go through in a campaign mode. And I know if I had a local store that I can drive 15 minutes to, I would definitely be involved in some kind of end times campaign event. I think it's very ambitious of GW, and I think it's a sign of things to come from them. This leads me to my dream sequence theory. I've been joking around with my friends that if you read through the books and you see what's happening, I can just see this whole end times thing wrapping up and 9th edition starting with Karl Franz waking up from a dream scenario, because some of it is just so crazy, and it's really distorting and changing everything you knew about Warhammer in the past, almost so much that to me it's almost unbelievable, and that I don't think it's beyond GW to just wake up, or the void folds in on itself and time resets. I could see them doing something like that, so I've just been saying, like, either the final book at the end, it's going to be Karl Franz waking up in his bed the day he comes to power, or 9th edition is going to just reset. We've seen the Empire book reset its time. I mean, it's not beyond GW to mess with things like that. So that also leads me to believe that this is a supplement for the game. Everyone's talking about allies in 9th, and end times is going to be what 9th edition is. I honestly, my personal opinion is I don't think so. I think end times is an alternate way to play the game, and it gives you rules and scenarios and set up for this apocalyptical type event, and you can use those models and play in that type of event, or you can play regular Warhammer and go by the 6 scenarios that are in the 8th edition book and play the game that way. But the good thing is it gives you alternatives, just like the Storm of Magic did, Triumph and Treachery did. It gives you another way to play this great game that we all absolutely enjoy. Which leads me on to my next point, is that it's been largely rejected in the competitive scene. I think this is because they see it as this. They see it as a supplement. And is that good or bad? I don't know. The competitive scene looks to make this game more balanced, honest, in a sense that I have my army, you have your army, we have certain things that our armies are good at and bad at, but at the end of the day it comes down to general versus general. You're using your tools that are given to you in a balanced format and fighting it out and letting the battle of the wits and minds determine the outcome of the game, and not because you brought this list that has this in and it's going to destroy my entire army. So I think that in play kind of changed it in the competitive mindset, because some of it is overpowered. I mean, Legion of Chaos is overpowered. You're going to see the high elf stuff, the elf stuff through the Kane book is just going to be a lot to bear. But it's so perfect in that box of the end times, because it is catastrophic, it is apocalyptical. So you have these humongous spells. As far as like the competitive side of it, I understand why that wouldn't be. You don't want to go to a table, cast one big spell, explode everybody, and that's it. And that's not to say that can't happen in uncomped and comped games, but I think it's just in a comped environment or a non-comped environment, even in the regular rule book, there are just things that are just not as apocalyptical as the end times are. And because of that, I think that we think of it as a supplement, like the Storm of Magic. I mean, you don't see Storm of Magic tournaments, you don't see Triumph and Treachery tournaments, because that type of game is just kind of like beer and pretzels, like I've always said with Warhammer. It is a beer and pretzels game, and it's about just blowing stuff up, and it's only when you take it to a competitive level that you really need to tweak things. And that's why I think it's largely rejected in the competitive scene. So moving on, I think 9th edition will change everything and nothing at the same time. I honestly think that the end times is going to be separate from 9th edition. I think 9th edition, and this is why I say this, 9th edition brought you allies. So you buy the Glockin's book and you have a warrior's army. Maybe you have a demon prince, or you had some demon stuff. So now you're like, okay, well, we're gonna play. I'm gonna play Legion's Chaos army. I'm gonna buy a couple demon models that I need, and maybe a unit of beastmen, so that I have this like full, 2,500 point or 3,000 point Legion of Chaos army, right? Great. GW got you to buy more models. They got you to buy the book, and now you're playing the game again with all these models, and everything's fine. You think this is awesome. What happens when 9th edition comes out and they separate it all again? Now you have your warriors army, you have a couple demon pieces, and you have some beastmen. Well, GW wants your money. So if they can present 9th edition in a way that the rules are better, they're better than 8th edition, they're better than what you're playing in the End Times and 8th edition, but they separate your armies again. Now you're thinking, well, I would only have to buy a couple core units to fill out my demon army. I would only have to buy a couple specials to fill out my beastman army. Now you're buying 3 armies that you weren't going to buy before the End Times came out. It's a very different look at what they're doing, and I don't have anything to support this besides a few rumors here and there. But when you step back and look at it at that aspect, which no one has really presented to me, like, wow, could you? They know that, and I'll go to the next thing. They know that. These are out of place anyway. They know that the book sold well. They know that they got an increase in models. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the Kane book was sold out within minutes. I actually had it in my shopping cart, but I decided not to buy it. So they know that these books are selling. So when 9th edition comes around, why not sell even more books? And I saw this rumor. This is kind of out of sequence in my slide, but I saw this rumor that End Times might not even be mentioned in the 9th edition book, which leads me back to my dream sequence theory. So I kind of think that in 9th edition there will be some combined armies. There might, Bretonnia might get folded in Empire. I mean, there's a lot of things, but I think you're not going to be able to ally as freely as you were able to in the End Times books. I don't think you're just going to be able to mash warriors and demons together and make an army out of it. I think there's going to be a catch. There's going to be some kind of penalty for taking certain units, and I'm basing this off of absolutely nothing, but I just don't think they're just going to say, it's Unbound, because I think End Times is a great Unbound book. It gives you that ability to run a super elf list. It gives you that ability to run a super bad guy list. I think that 9th is going to be a little bit more distinguished because they can keep that separation and they can keep you buying books. And that's what they know their books sell now. Why would they combine it? Why would they combine 4 books into one and then just try to sell you that? They're going to keep the distinctions between the armies. They have great kits for almost every army, and they can just easily make a new book, update the rules, sell you that book for 9th edition. And I just think that you might be able to get away with some allies, but I don't think it's going to be on the scale that you've seen in the End Times. And like I summed up just before, more books and more supplements. I love what GW did with the End Times. I think that they have the opportunity to make new supplements and new styles of play. There was rumor about there being a siege type supplement being brought out. I think this is their time where they're going to be able to play outside of the rules, and because they know the books sell now, so they're going to be coming up with some really neat little scenarios and stuff that really doesn't affect the main game, but if you want to play it that way, you can. So this is just my thoughts on the End Times, guys. Go in the comments, tell me what you think about it. I think it's great. I love to see GW just giving fantasy some attention in any way, shape, or form. And from the fluffy side of the game that I love to play, I think it's great. Competitive side, I still want to see us make this game competitive and keep the game within a certain boundary, if you will. But there's only great things. It only feels like there's great things to come from Games Workshop, and let's keep talking about the game and keep putting content out there for everyone to enjoy. And so this was my little hobby update. I'm sorry there's not more pictures of awesome painted models or battle reports, but I will be making some more reports coming soon. So thanks for watching, guys, and catch you on the next one.